Choices is something that we have to make every single day. However, some of those choices are really simple, as what to wear or what to have for dinner. But as young people, there are some really big choices that you're facing, which could be maybe taking your options for your GCSEs, or it may even be leaving school and having to choose what to study at college or sixth form, or maybe with an apprenticeship. And it can feel really heavy, because what if I make the wrong choice? What about if I'm not going to be happy with it? What about if other people aren't going to be happy with my choice? It's massive. So let's just slow it down and let's explore some top tips that you can kind of just take into consideration when it comes to making some big decisions in your life. Bearing in mind that, as I said, we make choices all the time. Literally every hour we're awake, we're making choices. Do we go left? Do we go right? Do we wear this? Do we take this book? What pen shall I use? But when it comes to these really big choices, is that it can be really scary. And with that, because we can kind of keep thinking about it and doubting ourselves, is that it can really impact our mental health, our mental well-being. And because of that, it can actually cause us to have sleepless nights or an inability to concentrate. It might affect our eating habits, whether we're eating too little or too much. It might cause ulcers or skin irritations. It might be even with our tummy or that feeling sick. So we just have to be careful that sometimes when it comes to making those big decisions, and let's face it, you're going to have decisions throughout your life. You know, whether you get married and it might be what suit or what wedding dress you're going to actually lock in and choose, or what job, do you take that job or not, or what car will you get as one of your first cars. So this is something that isn't just now, even though it might feel it, this is setting us up for the rest of our lives, and that's really exciting. That's really exciting. The thing is, though, again, it's the fear of the unknown and us thinking, whoa, this is just a bit too much. Let's just explore some top tips in how you can go about making the right decision. My first top tip is I'd like you to, if you can, step away from other people's expectations. And with that, I'd like you to just make sure that we're thinking about what is it that you'd like. Because sometimes what happens, and again, let's just build our self-awareness, is that we have these wonderful people in our life, whether that's our family, our friends, our teachers. But sometimes what happens is that we naturally like to please other people. And sometimes we might feel pressure that we should do things a certain way, which is all very well. But actually, I just want you to step away from other people's expectations and maybe any pressure, and just think about what is it that you would like. In the ideal world, what is it that you would like? Because then just by stepping away from other people's expectations will allow us to maybe think a little bit more clearer. My second top tip is, if we can, add some time between the choices that you have and actually making that decision, because it can be really hard to think clearly when we're feeling pressured. And sometimes with that can lead us to make maybe the poor choices, the wrong choice. But sometimes what happens is that when we don't have that time, we may regret the choice that we've taken. Therefore, just by kind of just stewing on it, thinking about it, and just allowing those thoughts to just simmer away, will allow us to naturally be able to make sure that we're making the right choice, because we're able to think more clearly. And my next top tip is about creating a list, and you know I love a list. But with this list, I would love for you to have 2 columns, pros and cons. So when it comes to making that decision, I want you to look at your choices and what are the pros and what are the cons. And with that will allow you to, and ideally pen and paper. And I know it sounds really silly, but when you're able to visualize it rather than just as a message or just as an email, it really can help make it clearer for you, because you can really kind of look at the two rather than it just being in your head. So really try and create those lists with the pros and the cons, because that can be really helpful. It can be a complete game changer there, because then you know what you're looking at. So yeah, try a list. My next top tip is I would like you to think about your goals and your values. I want you to make sure that when it comes to making this decision, I want you to just make sure that it aligns with your values, that you're staying true to yourself. Because the most important thing in life to do, and don't get me wrong, it's not always easy and sometimes we get a little bit out of an alignment. However, it's about just staying truthful to ourselves, and it's about staying on track with our goals. Now, your goals might change. So, for example, if you're in year 9 and you're about to take your options and you're adamant that you want to become a teacher, for example, that might change by the time you're in year 11 or you're about to leave sixth form college, an apprenticeship. That's okay for things to change. And sometimes we need to allow ourselves permission. Things do change. I always have my kids maybe that are like, oh, I want to quit. Like, we never quit in life. We just maybe start something that actually this isn't quite for me. And I'll never forget when I was doing my college course to become a counsellor, I remember saying to my tutor, I'm done, I quit. And he's the one who said to me, Jo, we never quit in life. We just realise that actually this isn't quite what I thought it would be, or this isn't what I signed up to be doing. And it's by kind of just allowing yourself that little bit of opportunity to be compassionate towards yourself will give you just that breathing space to make sure that you're on track for your own goals and staying true to yourself. And my final top tip is to talk it through. It's so important that instead of having it all in our mind and being completely muddled and feeling it as well, possibly with anxiousness, is to talk it through to somebody. Ideally an adult, and a kind of somebody older than you. Grandparents are brilliant because they're, older people. They've been there, they've done that, they've got the t-shirt. They're wise, and they keep quiet a lot more than they should, I think, sometimes, because they really are full of grandparents. They're amazing. But with that, by having the opportunity to talk it through, will allow you to get somebody else's perspective. So be open-minded with it and just kind of get them and what they think about it, because they're looking at it from a different point of view. And it's always good to talk, isn't it? So yeah, talk it through. So there you have it. There's just some of my top tips to help you make that decision. Remember, nothing lasts forever. So if you did make and lock in the wrong choice, it's okay. If that was with your options, for example, it's okay, because it's not going to last like that forever. But speak up. You don't have to struggle on your own. So yeah, anyway, Little Miss Chatterbox, I need to go. Stay awesome, look after yourselves, and I will see you soon. Bye everybody.